what?
We have the footage.
And greetings, everybody. Keith here. Hoping everybody's having a good day, enjoying life, living life, loving life. I want to thank everybody for joining me again today. Please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. There's a PayPal link down there for anybody that wants to share some love. And, of course, the StreamYard link there for anybody that wants to join the panel. We've got Russ and John with us tonight. How you doing tonight, guys?
What's up, my friend?
Hey. Doing pretty good here. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm a little better. I was a little stressed before. Driving through the suburbia here, I hit a speed bump in the road, Keith. I mean, there was no sign, right? It wasn't painted yellow. So I went into it, but I mean, no damage. But I was nervous for a couple hours after. I was thinking I damaged my car. I can't believe how militant our roads have become. I mean, for that to happen, you know?
Well, you got to remember this U.S. Road system is implemented and modernized from World War II and the German Autobahn to carry heavy equipment, military equipment. So it doesn't, they don't really want it for speed as so much for heavy equipment.
Wow, because I never saw a speed bump unannounced in the road. It must have been to slow down people in the neighborhood. That the neighborhood must have demanded it, you know?
Yep.
I'm not from that area, so I'm sorry. I won't go there again.
Yeah, life's its own lesson, huh? So,
yeah.
How about you, Russ? How you doing tonight, brother?
Good. I think I might have been lagging a little bit when I first come up, so hope everybody's having a blessed day.
We are. My companion and I are finally moving on to the next step in this shit contest here locally. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But
together, hopefully.
Oh yeah. So far, it's
good.
She just has to understand that there's greater reasons to do this than just our selfish stuff here, and it's the context that in order for me to be righteous and know already that my cup overfloweth, I have to be good with the attacks, knowing that there's a remedy and that I have to have patience, and that in seeking the right counsel, that answer will be given to me. And this is why I profess today not to go about this stuff belligerently, but set in your head the stone of research so you know. Get over the belief system, because that's what we've been indoctrinated in, was to remember this stuff because that's what you're supposed to believe. Where we have no foundation of knowing because we're never taught how to think for ourselves through our own perspective of our own observances. The inherent thing that is most imperative in our own learning, and we've been distracted from it. So in that, we're going forth, we're not getting any results from the county level as far as it goes to correcting the records and everything. So we're going to the IRS. We've got the appointment set up to go ahead and get this forensic audit, securities audit done. Going forth with all the evidence I've got, the 8 years of research and everything. So it's time for me to put my head into it and really get all my paperwork together as far as it concerns equity, trust law, contract law, indemnification, and all the shit that's been put into the record so far, and fulfill that intent to, or put forth that intent to fulfill an obligation. My part in it is correct myself and repent for myself. When I forgive others, that's for me. When I repent for myself, that's for me. So in that, I have to do everything for me. But the principle, again, isn't that I just eat for a day, but that I have the knowledge to eat for the rest of my lifetime. And in that, the imperative prerogative is to pass that knowledge on, to give that first duty in law, the legal notice of knowing and not believing. Rightly dividing the word of truth through the definitions. I'm not a resident. By Iowa definition, resident determination is for income tax purposes. I have no job. I have no state ID. I have to try to see if I can make it through this IRS appointment just by getting through the doors first. They're going to want an ID. Now, the lady on the phone told me that, hey, all I can do is try, but they're going to ask for ID. So when I go in there and they ask for ID and refuse me services, guess what? The individual's name and number identify the record. I should be able to give them the name and the number to identify the record because that's what they're looking for. It's confidential information, and I wouldn't know it unless I was authorized one way or another. And in that, you can look in that system and see the last identification I had. You can see how it was suspended. You can see how it's expired, even if it was re-invoked. All this information I have that can only be had by me. And that's the information that all needs to be corrected. They have to have me in order to correct that record. Refusing to communicate with me violates both their own duty of their own integrity as holders of a record that must also have integrity. If they know it is not correct, they have a duty to research and resolve it. That's their obligation to the record, is to make sure that it's accurate. The obligation to the people is that they hold their ethical standards up to fulfill that basic obligation of public service. Pure and simple. To not do or to do otherwise is the insanity we're talking about. And again, if they pose that this is such a strong nation and that they're just doing their job and that they can enforce that law, then I urge them to reconsider that. If this American population has a grade, a 7th or 8th reading comprehension as an average, then I doubt that those public offices could be filled with too much higher of an intelligence, if even that, while remembering that these police officers they hire have to have a certain intellect range, and if they go above it, sorry, we can't have people that can think for themselves. We've got to have you trainable. We've got to have you understand that we're your boss and no one else, and you will do just your job. They're not trained to know the law. They're trained in tactics of enforcement in all venues: language, body language, verbal threats, tactical command, military style. That doesn't sound like they're peacekeepers, does it? Ask them. So, like I said, we're going to go ahead with the IRS with this forensic securities audit, and we'll keep everybody apprised. But I might cut down the streaming a little bit so I can make sure I get our documentation correct and in order. My apologies.
Yeah,
So-
those are cheap. Those are cheaper, right? Those are $50 versus Q-SIPs, which are $250, right?
What's that?
For an IRS audit. I heard there's only $50 for
Oh,
those.
well, I don't care. They'd have to define the $50.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what we're talking about. Stamps or other representatives of value as an obligation or other security of the United States. I want to know what the other value is. And you can't even define a dollar. So there's got to be some other value. There has to be. And that's the bond. See, that's what backs everything now. It's not gold and silver, it's the bond. And it's the holder of the bond that gets to enforce as holder in due course. And if I'm deemed to be the true owner as benefactor, I get to settle these matters. I get to control these matters. As a matter of mistake, which is entrance into equity, where I impute an intent to fulfill the obligation of studying to shew myself worthy and proved to teach you what you're doing wrong, not as an accusation, but as further education. The very purpose of my trust is merely to educate people. Give them a fish, you feed them for a day. Teach them to fish, you feed them for a lifetime. that principle is to be then extended through expression of your talents. Greetings, JG. How you doing tonight, brother? There's no volume, brother.
So,
There you go. Hey. What's going on, man? How your travels going?
Shit.
Free as a bird, huh?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. I was just telling them how I finally got a appointment set up with the local IRS office to go ahead with this forensic securities audit, because we can't seem to get any response out of the public officials that are obligated to. So we have to go above their heads, and so we're going to go straight to the IRS, give them everything I've got, and see what happens. So in the meantime, we're going to take a look at some more of these clips. And one of the first ones I want to make a poignant point of the aspect of the psychology that we've come onto in the modern times as it relates to various different rights movements throughout history, whether it be civil rights, women's rights, gay rights. Now we're working with transgender rights and transhumanist rights and this and that. And we have to understand, again, the principle of studying to shew thyself worthy and approved. And there are very basic, simple concepts that we don't even see in a major portion of our population today because of these modern rights movements that just prove their own insanity. And that's the first clip I want to look at here. Oops, wrong one. Now, why is this not working? There we go.
Completely destroyed this interviewer.
This man who talked about grabbing women by the...
Wow.
Is there any point, a part of you that feels this is not my guy? I don't want this guy to be talking like this about any woman at all.
Sweetie, I would rather be grabbed by the pussy than have a pussy for president.
Did she just...
Yes, she did. I would rather be grabbed by the pussy than have a pussy for a president. We cannot possibly have a strong nation if we have the president we have. It proves our indignant interest of ignorance. We don't care if our public officials are ignorant. We're going to vote them into office anyway. This is pathetic.
That's exactly what she said.
And you're happy with that language?
I'm very happy with that language. Look,
What the hell is going on here?
none of us are that polite behind closed doors. My girl.
None of us are that polite behind closed doors, for Christ's fucking sake. We're not even that polite in open windows like the metaverse here. We have to start getting real and grow the fuck up. This is pathetic to be even arguing about this kind of shit, let alone letting it pervade throughout our fucking younger generations as if though it's something of a topical importance that we need to make a national issue out of it.
Girlfriends have ruder language. Real men have ruder language.
Exactly.
He's no longer in the locker room. He's in the Oval Office.
Sure, and that was a private conversation 8 years ago before he was running, whilst Clinton was in the Oval Office, of course.
Exactly. So we have a comparison of somebody that was, whilst in office, did what he did, Bill Clinton. You know, the guy that said, well, that depends on your what your definition of what is. Cocky motherfucker. In the Oval Office. And went on to keep his presidency. Goodness gracious. And they're talking about trying this guy for sedition and treason and all kinds of stupid shit. Come the fuck on.
Monica Lewinsky was on her knees with Hillary stood right by her. So
Did you just say that?
She's not president. I'm talking about the current president-elect.
yes, but when Bill Clinton was
I'm not
president,
talking about the past. I'm talking about the future. And
and
that's-
I'm not talking about the past. I'm talking about the future. That's why you brought it up, because you were talking about the past. 8 years prior to his service in office.
8 years ago, before Donald Trump even ran, he used the word, I'm not offended, you are, you deal with your
Are any of-
issues.
are-
Katie Hopkins.
So I don't care what they say. Again, it's an argument that we really don't need to be having when we have much greater arguments to have, and that is the rhetoric of these people that come out with babble and get elected into office to begin with, or put into places of public service. So they're indoctrinated to just do their job, just like Hitler's willing executioners.
You can see that guy's just trying to be difficult. He's just trying to get a conflict going.
Well, he's trying to be one of Hitler's willing executioners. He's trying to push this communist socialist society that formed as some kind of democracy, posing two houses, Republican and Democratic, when we're promised a republic. And most people don't even know what a republic is because they're so concerned with public and private. It's pathetic. We have people that think that they should go out to these voting polls and don't know the first thing about democracy or politics. If they did, they'd understand the imbalance of a democracy and the importance of a republic.
And they're giving up their power too by showing up.
Absolutely. They're subjecting themselves to an electoral college that doesn't give a shit about their opinion unless it's so overriding that they can't get away with their minority vote as a majority vote. You got to remember, folks, those people can vote against the people if they so decide based on their own independent opinion. If you don't understand the context of that electoral college, then I urge you to go deregister fast.
Illusion of choice.
Yep. Now they're going to do this to me again.
Security of a free state, comma, the right to bear arms shall not be infringed.
What did he say? Apologies to Ranking Member Nadler.
Being necessary for the security of a free state.
He's reading the Second Amendment, and he makes a major omission. And this is Nadler, who knows the Constitution, or should, and shouldn't be doing it, particularly if he's reading it off of a piece of paper that's stating it, quote, verbatim. Because what he does here is he says he's quoting it, and he's not. He is lying. This is a liar.
Comma, the right to bear arms shall.
Do you notice that pause? The right, and he almost said of the people. And that's the omission. Let's watch that again. Reads, quote, a well-regulated militia being necessary
A free state,
for the
comma,
security of a free state.
the right
comma,
of
the right there. And then he goes on.
to bear arms shall not be infringed.
So that is not a direct quote. And this being a federal employee bound to the Constitution should know that Constitution. And when he blatantly, intentionally leaves out of the people, it is an omission known as a lie. Do not be fooled. He said, quote, and then failed to quote it.
What did he say? Apologies to Ranking Member Nadler if this isn't what he stated, but I think he might have left out some key words when he read the Second Amendment.
Some key words. People, you are the key.
And I'll read it here. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And I'm not sure if I heard him say the people, which applies to all of the people, as we well know.
All of the people, regardless of any corporate convictions. I don't give a fuck if they're misdemeanors, aggravated misdemeanors, felonies, aggravated felonies. I don't give a fuck. Congress shall make rules for the government, not the people. Nowhere does anything say law of the people. There's a common law of the land in which people use contracts Okay. Troubling pattern
We can't
of
hear it.
interactions. You can't hear this?
No, I don't hear it. I hear you, though.
You can't hear it.
It's a weapon, but because it's a shield. They do this even when
I even had it on the
Jury
wrong
found one of
video.
its officers responsible for using excessive force and violating the guardsman's civil rights after using a stun gun during a traffic stop.
Yesterday, after a 4-day civil trial, a jury found that Officer Marcellus Loving used excessive force and violated Eubank's civil rights.
Pleasant must pay $500,000 to
$500,000 for using a taser. And we find out this isn't the first time.
with DC.
During an investigation into the Eubanks case, News 4 was first to obtain other body cam videos showing Loving's troubling pattern of interactions.
Troubling pattern.
I'm not gonna take your back because that's what you said. I want you to say I sexually harassed you. Mother, you wanna die? Get over, man. Get him.
In this video, he appears
Got triggered pretty easily. See, that's why we don't need these kind of people. We can't have these kind of people on these police forces. It's like when one of the local guys here, Flex Your Freedoms, got arrested because he told some cop to suck his cock. We can't have beta cuck pussies in public office. Women like to be grabbed by the pussy. They'd rather be grabbed by the pussy than have one in office.
to FaceTime a friend to show a naked man who's under the influence.
Would you say that Loving is one of your good officers?
We asked Seat Pleasant Police Chief Devin Martin about Loving in a June interview.
I believe that PFC Loving adds attributes to the department. And I think that that's probably a fair characteristics of PFC Loving.
I noticed you did an interview with the chief of police who said, well, he has these good qualities and all that you can use on the force. And maybe later on, if something happens, we can let him move on to some place where he can do better.
Let him move on to some place where he can do better. Again, folks, these people move on to other police forces and don't do better. They keep progressively get worse and worse until they kill people.
What he meant by that was to do better for the other agencies and to meet their goals.
Yeah,
as if he's letting him go. But he's actually letting him go to another agency because he got caught there and he can be better use there in a new community where he's not so much known.
Yep.
It's all this shit's disgusting, man.
Yeah, it's getting overbearing, really.
It really is.
This person was having his coffee in the car when a cop approached him. Allegedly, she was concerned of this guy's well-being. But was this really the case here, or was this just a pretext?
Someone said that they thought you were maybe having like a mental health crisis and asked me to make.
See, they're always going to try to go to the competency route when they think you're causing some kind of quiet issue. You know, somebody else is in fear of you. So they're going to go to the competency and make sure that you're sane and mentally stable. Fucking pathetic tactic. Like I said, folks, it's all a psychological game, and they indoctrinate everybody from the beginning. They're indoctrinated too. But the problem is that nobody wants to step up to the moral backgrounds, the moral ethics of just doing what's right. You obviously know he's not doing anything wrong. You should be reasonable. But instead, you're going to go for that paycheck and push it because you really ain't got no criminals to look after.
Oh, is that what they thought?
I'm just making sure you're okay. Are you okay?
Absolutely.
Okay. Do you need anything? Any help?
No, not at all. I became
Let me get a blowjob, bitch.
Posted behind me. Everywhere I go, there's someone very concerned. I'm not surprised at all.
Okay.
But no, I don't need any help. Please leave me alone. Go away. I don't need any assistance.
Okay.
You're not required. Please, I have rights. Leave me alone.
Okay. Well, then you should consider pulling your vehicle, parking somewhere else. Okay.
So you should consider pulling your vehicle out and parking somewhere else. No, he's a patron there, a customer there. He has a right to either eat in the restaurant or outside of the restaurant. I'm imagining they even have a table where he can sit down, but that doesn't mean that he's required to.
Well, she just told you what her problem really is him being parked there. Nobody called shit in. It's not about his health. She just showed right there that she's got a problem. That's the real issue there.
Right. And that's because she's a traffic enforcement. So she's going to deal with anything in traffic. So if you have somebody called in that's sitting in their vehicle, guess what? It's going to be a traffic stop. Whether they're already parked there or not, that's what they try to do. Oh, this is a traffic stop. You didn't pull me over, but you're in your vehicle.
Customer here. Please stop harassing me.
So I'm just saying, if you feel like I'm harassing you and you do not want police to contact you, I would consider parking your car elsewhere. It's all I'm saying. Okay?
Okay.
Have a great
So if I park my car elsewhere, can they call the police on me there? Well, yeah. So where the fuck are you expecting me to park my car where you're not going to try to dip your nose in my motherfucking privacy? Ignorant fucks. Excuse my language. But yes, have a great day. Now this is
there's
a poor. Go
There's
ahead.
too many weasels out here. I had somebody call the cops to me the other day, and it's the shit people are doing. It's pathetic, man.
Well, yeah, check this one out. You'll like this one. This Brandon police officer didn't like the plastic glass.
Oh boy.
Now you done it.
Yeah.
I thought you were driving pretty good. I don't know why you
Me too.
pulled over now.
You saw me taking a drink.
Yeah, way back there.
Yeah.
See, this guy already figured it out. He already knows what happened. He knows what it looks like, but he doesn't give a rat's ass, and neither should the police. See, the police are only supposed to investigate if they have reasonable suspicion that you're committing or have committed or are going to commit a crime. So just seeing a colored liquid in a plastic glass doesn't mean shit.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good, Officer Francis, Brandon PD. What is in the cup?
Monster?
Is it Monster?
Yeah.
Okay. Does it look like a beer when you drove by us back there?
Oh.
It's not beer?
Well, no. Are you gathering information in an investigation? Are you wanting me to violate my Fifth Amendment? You would have to check and find out if it's a beer yourself, sir. You just asked me what it was. I already answered and said it's a Monster. Now you're asking me again. Are you stupid?
Can't judge a book by its cover, can you?
Yeah,
What was it?
It also looks like a big.
Huh? You're breaking up there, brother.
Here. Come in that cup, okay? Nothing to drink tonight.
Yes.
That.
Yeah.
Gonna recommend that you probably don't drink out of that cup.
I'm going to recommend. Is that legal advice? Because if it's not, I don't take recommendations from idiots.
Anymore, because it looks like a glass from a bar, which is usually served in.
So why don't you just tell all your buddies out there that there's some guy traveling around and he's drinking from a cup that looks like it came from a bar and it's got yellow liquid in it, which is actually a Monster drink. Why don't you just give the notice? Is that too much work? Or no, you just want the next insane motherfucker that works on the same police force to pull him over blocks away because he does the same thing.
Yeah, he fucked up. He went full retard trying to, control her, like control freak.
Yeah, and I don't care if, you might think that he's being reasonable about it because he hasn't agitated anything yet, supposedly. But just pulling somebody over because of your insane belief that they might be doing something and that you have the authority to do so, to start an investigation without knowing a fucking thing, tells us that you're incompetent to begin with. So you are agitating right from the start just by pulling people over for stupid shit like this. So yeah, he is pushing.
You could have been like, yeah, all right, it's a monster. I'm sorry for stopping you. I fucked up there. You guys have a nice day. Keep it moving.
Exactly. But he's not willing to. He's got to push the issue. He's got to get more information. He's got to do his investigation. And God damn it, this motherfucker better comply.
Usually beers are served in that.
I didn't know that there was a law on that. Is there a law?
There's
on that?
not a law on that, okay? But there's a law against drinking and driving, and it looks like a beer, okay? That is the reason for the stop tonight.
So my question is, from where you, I guess you were following me to this point right here, why did it take you so long to light me up then?
Why did it take you so long to light him up? See, he saw him take a drink way back there, but didn't light him up because he wanted to follow him, see if he was swerving and stuff. He didn't find any reason for that. That's why when he asked him if he was, what was in the cup, because he didn't have any idea that he was drunk. But he suspected that he might be on his start to being drunk. He might be ready to commit a crime. Therefore, he stopped him to start an investigation. Wrong, dude.
That's a female, right? Or a trans woman?
I have no idea.
Exactly.
I was observing your driving.
Not only is it wrong, but
see, JG tried to get me. I don't know.
Not only is it wrong, it's a huge waste of resource.
Yes. Well, and it's a felony on his part to turn on those lights for something that's not an emergency. Is an investigation an emergency if you don't know that a crime has been committed? Aren't you just supposed to investigate?
Absolutely.
Is it okay?
Okay. All right.
All right.
Have a good night.
You too. Thank you. What's your name and badge number? Sir? Sir? Just out of curiosity, what's your name and badge number?
It's Francis, badge number 50.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Francis even.
Yeah, if these cops were just real when they fuck up, they'd be way better, Like, oh, I was out of line here, miss. I'm sorry. I don't smell any alcohol. I notice it's a monster. You have a good day. Just stop doubling down.
That's all they got to do is be reasonable. And that's the part they're missing. They don't know how to be reasonable because they're just doing their job. So they use their own discernment according to getting a paycheck and those incentives and quotas and stuff. And it's just simply sickening. These people are obligated to the people, and they're abusing that position and trust.
They stopped her to help and even offered her food.
Strawberries?
with chocolate on them.
But then the little girl asked him a great question.
We'll get you a
Why
Ford.
don't you have donuts?
She asked me why don't I have donuts.
When these
Oh, that.
I thought
It's
that
cold.
was funny as hell. Cold, yep. Why don't you guys have donuts? I mean, this girl sounds like she's probably 6 or 7 years old, man. I had to throw that in there for some comedic relief, guys. Hope you appreciate it. I'm going to play it one more time.
These cops found a 5-year-old girl walking on the streets by herself.
Right.
They stopped her to help and even offered her food.
Strawberries with chocolate on them.
But then the little girl asked him a great question.
We'll get you a
Why
Ford.
don't you have donuts?
She asked me why don't I have donuts.
We got to have some more humor like that, guys.
Absolutely.
Hey, you see a cop and you think donuts.
Just 2 people come to watch 2 people.
Yeah, it's 7 and 8, just something to
It's obvious that movie theaters do not want you to bring in outside food to the movie theater because they want to sell you some overpriced popcorn. So absolutely, ladies and gentlemen, you are not allowed to bring outside food and drinks into a movie theater because that is against their rules. Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, that these companies are all private companies, and just because it's against their rule does not mean it's against the law. Now, I'm not saying that you should go and do this. I'm just saying it's not illegal if you do it because it's a private company, and private companies do not create the law. It makes this man not guilty.
See what he means? See, you can violate somebody's private contract by invitation, by going into a restaurant and bringing other food from another restaurant. Same thing with a video theater. Those are private establishments, and they have private rules, just like an after-hours club for a private association. You go in there, you have to follow their rules. However, those are just rules. They're not law. So the best they can do is kick you out of the establishment, unless you actually commit a crime within their premises. Pure and simple. Oops. I don't know why I keep doing that. I dropped my screen again. Hang on, folks. Here we go.
So what do you want?
I want to know why you're driving around out here in an
Is it against the law?
It might be.
It might be.
Let's see your
So
ID.
until it
It might be. See, this is the complete arrogance of somebody supposedly investigating somebody for a crime, but doesn't know yet and says it might be. What are you investigating then? To find out if it is a crime? That means you're outside of your official duties, because you should know that it's a crime, having been committed or in the commission of or going to be committed before you start the investigation. Once again, you can't just go pulling people over nilly-willy because they're traveling around and you want to know why.
is, you can't pull me over and tell me that.
Are you upset with life, sir?
No.
Why, are you, why can't I see your ID?
Because I have not.
So instead of admitting to his illegitimate stop and his obligation to the people, he's going to keep his affront going on the people and start attacking him psychologically. See, that's what this is. It's a big psychological attack by a bunch of fucking morons. These people have no business being police officers. None.
Done anything wrong. Nothing against the law,
We're gonna
okay?
be here a long time
Then that's fine. I'm retired, so I'll probably be here way longer than you, dude. You're pissed off because I flipped you off,
I'm
right?
not pissed off. I think
Until
And again, evidently this started off because this guy flipped him off. And I'm not saying near here, there, near, whether you should or not. I've done it before myself. I don't do it anymore, but I might find an occasion to. But that's all it is. If you get your feelers hurt, then it only proves you're a fucking coward ass pussy beta cuck.
I break the
In my opinion, of course.
law. You're not getting my ID.
I don't know if you heard me the first time.
Suspicion. Is that a felony or a misdemeanor? Which one?
I'm not done with my investigation.
And you expect me to help
Again, what crime are you investigating? Don't know yet.
you with your investigation? Off. I'm not going to help you with your investigation.
Okay, then.
Get your superior out here.
Okay, listen.
Get your
You're
supervisor.
not going to come out here, but I'll gladly take you in and fingerprint you.
Yeah.
But I'll gladly take you in and fingerprint you. Okay? So that fingerprint base is held by the FBI, which is correlated to the Interstate Identification Index, telling us that you're probably going to use it for commercial purposes. As being one of the children of the brethren of Israel, that would be kidnapping and making merchandise of me, and that's called kidnapping. I'm not going to play games with these fuckers anymore.
Take your foot off the door.
No, I'm just gonna come in.
No, but take your foot off the door. I want to close it for a minute.
Go for what?
Take your foot off the door, and I want to close it for 1 minute. I want to assist these people that need my help.
Okay.
And then when I'm done with them, I'll come to you.
Okay,
Can
I
you
don't need
extend-
your help though.
All right, so then extend my courtesy and just close the door. I just want to assist them.
Yeah, no, I just need to go in here. Really
Yeah,
quick.
but not now. I want to assist them.
See, this is a security guard, not a police officer. It's a security guard at a Social Security office, I believe. They're not allowed to do this. Social Security is not a private corporation, folks. That is most certainly a federal government agency. They have an obligation to we the people, just like the IRS, and cannot persuade identification unless I've been subject of a cause with a reasonable articulable suspicion.
It's a public building, sir.
Yeah, I know.
I can come in. I can come into a public building. Why are you?
And to project that I might, and therefore you're going to violate my rights to prevent so, that is not valid excuse. Just because you have an innate fear of something that might happen. I don't live my life on ifs, buddy.
Why are you pushing it?
Do me a favor.
These people are trying to get out.
Yes. Hold on. But don't hold the door. You don't have to hold
I'm
them.
holding them for them.
No, you don't have to hold them for them.
I'm holding the door for
You
them.
don't have to hold the door for them.
They're trying to
That's
leave,
what I'm here
sir.
for.
So you're causing a scene right now.
Do me a favor.
I'm just trying to get inside the Social Security office.
Yes.
How come I can't stand where she's standing?
Hold on a second.
I'm gonna stand where
Your
she's
people
standing.
leaving? Yeah, come on.
I'm just gonna stand. Can you not put?
See, now he's positioning himself between him and the other guy and trying to get access to that door so he can shut that door by inviting people in and out. He's got to take care of these people over here. But instead of taking care of those people over there, he's over here interfering with this guy and then inviting people in and then inviting people out. So what happened to his duty of care of the other person he was trying to deal with? See how insane these motherfuckers are?
Push into me, please.
I'm opening to you, sir.
You just let somebody else in right in front of me. Cut my spot.
All right. Did he speak? Excuse me, sir.
You just let somebody else in.
You're recording. Take your foot off.
Because you're recording. And we have every fucking right to. We have a right to secure ourselves in our persons, papers, houses, and effects. If that means I get the equal opportunity to record just like you do with all of those cameras in your public office, then you evidently don't understand your contract terms of equal consideration, equal benefit, and want to hold everything on your contract as a detriment to me, and I'm the one you're actually obligated to. You ignorant bastards. Public service is a public trust.
That's my attorney, sir.
I know, yes. I'm Captain Stevens, Vanderbilt Police Department. Since your client is now under arrest, we're going to end this phone call. He can talk to you once he gets down to booking, okay? I
understand.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for your press.
Can you go ahead and hang up? Because his is password protected, and I don't want to ask that.
His is password protected, and I can't get past that. Can you hang up, please? See, they can't do anything with the phone. under Attorney Shield, available on iOS and Android. And this isn't a sponsor or anything. I just ran across this, and I think this is a wise idea if you're going to be out there doing this kind of stuff. So start finding out what other programs are out there like Attorney Shield that can help you block your systems of data. That's your personal device. No one else owns it.
You are now watching Doorbell News.
Burlington, North Carolina. Always remember, you have the right to remain silent.
Police department.
Yet no one does. Yeah, that's a big part of the problem. Everybody wants to step right up and say, "I'm so and so. Don't you know who I am? Blah 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 blah. I'm a resident here. I'm a citizen." You're fucking up, people. Shut the fuck up.
Police department.
Hi, we'll be right there.
Yeah, I heard that before.
You kid.
Police department, come to the door. I'll be out here all day.
Absolutely.
Okay, got nowhere to go.
You ain't got nowhere to go.
Hey, how are you doing? I'm all in yourself.
Now check out how they handle this guy.
Pretty good. So, obviously know why we're here, right? But,
Obviously, you know why we're here. Ain't got the first clue.
lady that's missing. Okay. Okay. So, what do you know about yesterday about her car? Whose car? The blue car y'all dropped off at KFC. You and the guy you were with. Last night I worked 12-hour shifts. There's video footage of your car. Not my tags.
Not my tags. And this gal's adamant. So again, in their investigation, they evidently have some kind of footage or some kind of witness, but they can't get their information right. So they're going to go around and harass anybody they think, and then impose upon them that they already know why they're there. Well, obviously, you already know why we're here. No, I don't.
Yes, this car right here at KFC.
They're wanting you to help them with their investigation by violating your Fifth Amendment right by saying shit.
Pick the guy up at KFC, dropping the car off at the missing.
Nobody has been at my house, so what kind of guy? Yeah, are you talking about my grandson?
I don't know. It's black metal dreads.
Body was red, so it's definitely not my car, and it's definitely not my tag. And if it is, I want to see it.
I don't have the video.
If it is, I want to see it. Well, I don't have the video. So what again the fuck are you investigating if you don't have the video and the proper information? You're just going to go around knocking on random doors because you see a vehicle that looks like the description. That's the imposition. That's the imposing. That's Congress shall lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and excises. Those imposts are the presumptions, the imposters. These people are nothing but imposters.
Okay, well, if you don't have the video and you don't have the tag, you're harassing. It's a car that looks just like this. And there's a million cars that look just like it.
And there's a million cars that look just like it. They don't have the video. They don't have the tags. And this is just blatant evidence that they just go around knocking on strange doors because they have some kind of belief.
I need a lawyer.
They might be plotting here too. This might be all some scheme. They're just making some shit up to, and
well,
they might know about this lady. She might be, selling meth or some shit, right? And then they make theater up. You never know, man.
Well, you never know, but the way this sounds, I've listened to this, and this gal works like 12 hours a day and has a record of it. She's got a nice vehicle. She's got a roommate there that's helping her and supporting her and knows what her daily activity. Evidently, they do a lot of things together. So I'm more willing most any day, whether it be true or not, to believe these two rather than the police in any given situation.
Yeah,
you know me.
No, I hear you.
KFC. The harassment and shit like that is. I worked 12-hour doubles this weekend. I don't know shit about nobody. I don't know nobody around this. I'm not even.
12-hour double says that she has a record that will say that she was probably at work at the time. They're accusing her of doing this shit.
From here. So why y'all coming to my house asking me shit that I don't know about is beyond me. I didn't get any sleep. I'm cramped up. I've been working all night, and then y'all coming banging on my door. I feel sick.
Oh shit! They just fucked with a woman that's bloated. Oh my God, she's gonna go. She's gonna blow, folks.
To the hospital. I don't have time for this shit.
Ain't no point in cussing.
I have nothing to do with. Bring me a footage that shows my tag on that shit. A car that looks like mine ain't good enough.
She mentioned being bloated, and they turned around and took off. Is this a new wonder phrase, folks? Ladies, pay attention, and all you men that think you women, pay attention, you cuck motherfuckers.
Yeah, she put them in their place. And they fucked up.
Yeah, no man wants to deal with a reasonable woman on her rags. She's gonna let loose. She don't give a fuck.
The fuck? Act like he's a boss. This is my house. Obviously, you know, talking about where's the guy. You think you're gonna question me? Get the away from my shit.
Make sure you subscribe today.
Doorbell news, folks. Doorbell news. See what we got here.
Please don't touch me. I'm the police. I don't care who you are. You don't touch people. You don't come into the office. Okay. Yes, I do. And I sit down just like this. What is it that you want? I don't want.
I sit down just like this. Learn how to tell these people reasonably and from a good enough perspective that you can be blunt and truthful at the same time. You don't have to be cowards, folks.
Want your assistance. What's your name and your identifier? It's Sergeant Dabrowski. Well, there's no need for a shitty attitude. You can't come in here. You understand me. I don't answer your questions. What was he on the phone for? Trying to do a FOIA request? I could file the FOIA request. If they don't have to be open to accept the FOIA request according to state law. I'd like to familiarize myself with the staff, just like you just put your hands on me. Mm-hmm. Yep, that was uncalled for. Do you?
See, and one of the points he makes there is, I would like to be familiarized with the staff. This is one of their obligations. See, if they're obligated to we the people, then they need to know who we the fucking people is. Like I've said many times, if we're operating in this public service, which is a public trust, and everybody is being treated as a trustee, who the fuck then is the beneficiaries?
Come back at 8 a.m. No, that's not the way it works, sir. Are you honoring your oath? You look like a tyrant. When you start barging into my station, it's not barging. It's called walk in. It's called criminal trespassing. Trespass 720 ILCS 521. Criminal trespass to real property. This section shall not apply for being in a building which is open to the public while business during normal business hours. I'm here to file a FOIA.
Unless you're causing a nuisance. Going in to file a FOIA is not a nuisance. It's a nuisance to you because you might get your ass in trouble. You fucking cowards.
Request. And you're causing a problem. Everything that you're spewing.
Yeah, no, we're exposing the problem. You cuck motherfuckers.
Is incompetence at this moment. That's good enough. You have a good day.
And that's the incompetence. Like I said, they have an obligation to their own moral integrity as holders of a public record in public service, which is a public trust that has to have integrity just as well. And if either one of them is out of character, then it needs to be corrected.
Yeah, it's never going to end, Keith. I mean, people are too fake. They're too weaselly, stuck in their ways. They can't, change. So we're going to be seeing this forever and ever, man.
Yeah, and that's why it's so important for people to stand up. Am I still there? Are you still hearing me? Said I lost browser connection.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, audit them is great. He does a good job. And that's what we're talking about is creating that private journal. And it's not a matter of the identification, except when it comes to that record and how it's misconstrued to be us. We are not properly identified according to those records. And that's why we do the Freedom of Information requests and try to become familiarized with the public officials and stuff, not because we're in error, but we're trying to correct errors in the record that will help them do their job better and more appropriately. These people are heathens, though, and they don't want to do that job. They want to do what brings them a check. That's those incentives and quotas.
Yeah. Keith, they're obligated to have accurate records. How come
Absolutely.
they never? But they don't. They're not even trying.
I know. That's what I mean. That's why that's the bold, blatant malfeasance of their public trust is the thing when they turn around and say that we're causing the nuisance by requesting the freedom of information. And then they turn around and try to say, well, you have to sign in. No, it's anonymous. Well, we have to know who's doing it. No, it's anonymous. It's known by address and not by name. This is one of those guys that's cool. He understands a certain degree of discernment where there's a variance for things. So he makes his own little deal.
I can't hear it.
Can't hear this?
No, the viewers might, but in the StreamYard, I can't hear it.
Yeah, I can't either, Keith.
What's all y'all got?
We're fixing to leave. I was coming to see if you were there so I could come sliding through one last time.
I got all the time in the world. That's what I'm saying.
He's evidently out riding some trails or something, and there's people that are complaining. And so he's sitting there shooting radar. But he's going to let them slide because he understands they're just out enjoying some trails.
If I leave, these people are going to keep complaining. That's what.
Yeah.
If I leave, these people are going to keep complaining. So he's just going to wait there until they're done and pretend like he's surveilling them, but he's just watching them and enjoying it. He's got all day. He knows there's nothing better to do. He knows there's no real criminals out there, right? He's enjoying his job.
Yeah, we're leaving right now. If you don't clock us, let us slide out. We'll be gone.
That'll be our deal.
Okay.
Puts his radar away. That'll be our deal. All you got to do is learn how to negotiate with people and be reasonable sometimes. Knowing, and again, this is just a particular situation that happened to work out good. But the more we do it, the better we'll be able to communicate with these people. The less they'll see us as slaves and in bound servitude and money for their paycheck. The more they'll realize that we are inherent people of knowledge and skill and willing to govern ourselves and don't need them. We have to quit acting in this insanity as Kens and Karens and calling them for assistance for insane stupidity.
Do you ladies feel like
The hell. Greetings, Mitchell, and we got 5-speed back. How you guys doing?
Good.
Back up.
Internet's playing with us here. The weather.
Okay, let's try this again.
do you ladies feel like women are seriously ready for emotionally intelligent men?
Okay, let's talk about what emotional intelligence comes with before we even get into this conversation, okay? We're talking about you wanting a man who is tolerant, who regulates his emotions, who also knows how to manage your emotions. But you're also talking about a man who knows how to navigate his sensitivities and everything else when it comes to that. But you have to consider that an emotionally intelligent man is good at cutting people off when he sees that your sensitivities bring too much reactivity.
I hope everybody understands that. And this isn't all men across the board, and it's not just men. It's when we come across people that know how to use reason and logic and are willing to cut you off and show you the errors of your ways, that we have to learn how to be open to that. Even if we think we're using reason and logic ourselves. That's the problem. Most people that use reason and logic think they're the all end all be all of reason and logic. And I admit my own fallacy in reason and logic as it goes to my own perception. I have to understand other people might have a different perspective that might enhance what I have, even if I have to change it. That's the open-mindedness and willing to adopt and adapt to changes, because you're adept enough to understand there might be something better.
It's being real.
Yeah. And understand what I just said there too. Adopt, adapt, and adept. This is the way the languages work. You have a trinity that's going to help you understand the qualifications of each word. Bond is a particular word that also means bind, band, bund, and bend. They're all definitively coming from the same thing. This is why that term in the scripture, abundance, is so important. You're already bound in abundance if you accept it. And that's the living in faith, knowing that everything you need is already there. All you have to do is learn how to observe it from a good perspective.
When he sees that you cannot regulate your emotions, when he sees that you have a low tolerance, this type of man that you are asking for is a man who will walk you out the door in a heartbeat. If he feels like you are disrupting his peace, if he feels like there's any level of disrespect, because there's a lot that comes with emotional intelligence. So if you asking for that, you got to come with the same level of emotional intelligence as well.
In other words, ladies, you can't get bound up in your emotions. You have to learn how to use the reason and logic, which is the intellectual side, to form the foundation of why you think your emotion or your reaction to such degree, whether it be far right, far left, or somewhere in Midland, why it is that. You have to have some kind of substance to the emotion.
Okay, that
Many
comes
people are emotion first, Keith.
Yeah, and that's the problem. It reflects that they're not using the intellectual side and bouncing it off that reason and logic to make sure that what they're then going to turn around and put out is objectively viable.
Grab her right by the feelings.
Yeah. I'd rather grab somebody by their feelers than have somebody in their feelers in office, huh?
a factor. So if you are a woman, do you ladies feel?
So what do you think on that, guys? Is that a reasonable assessment? I love that one. Anybody?
Very reasonable.
And again, like I said, it's not all men across the board, and it's not just men. So the next one we got, let's see here.
All these people are being denied the ability to attend a public meeting. It's a violation. So I need to file a report.
Okay, what do you do? What do you have to do with?
I'm an Oklahoma citizen that pays taxes.
Okay.
And I need to file a report because all these people are being denied access. Okay. All these people are being denied.
See, this is a city hall or a county commission meeting where they're supposed to allow access by the public, and what they're doing is they're shutting down these doors and not letting certain people in. This is Dolton, Illinois shit. It's happening all over, and it's going to stop. You cannot deny the ability of being heard by the very people that you're obligated to in your public service. And I don't know why I came across these videos, but this lawyer here seems to have some various different aspects on some of these cases. I don't always agree with him, that's for damn sure.
Can't hear it.
I don't know why it's doing that, guys. keeps cutting my connection. Let me know if this is better.
Lawyer's reaction.
Yep.
When applying U.S. law to this video, different states across the country have different laws regarding when you can use deadly force to protect your home. Castle doctrine, stand your ground, they're called different things. But ladies and gentlemen, this right here was boiling water, not deadly force. Technically, it's considered grave bodily injury, which is mostly universal across the country, making this homeowner not guilty for protecting their home.
See, you can go to the extent of maiming people. Not killing them, but you can maim them. You can make them remember so that they'll never forget that the guy on the other side of that door that you're trying to break in, he may come and surprise you with something you never expected. Be very careful. The people will come up with their own measures. They don't need guns.
Any American in Tacoma. Number one, you can be stopped by police.
Why would it send Americans into a coma? They have the same rules. In the U.S., Customs and Border Protection can stop anyone for any reason within 100 air miles of the U.S. border, which covers something like 90% of the entire U.S. between Canada, Mexico, and the oceans. And not only that, but they can just make up excuses. Oh, your tail light's out. And if you're a foreigner, they can stop you for any reason whatsoever. You should really look at some of the videos on CBP. The registration thing in Russia, yeah, it sucks, but it's not like you make it out to be. For example, they don't check when you leave Russia. Even now, I have so many friends that left Russia who are not registered.
See, they don't check when you leave Russia. They check when you leave the United States. Why is that? Why is it the United States won't even let you leave the United States unless you have certain documentation? Go ahead, Russ.
They got to keep tabs on all the slaves.
There you go. Every one of them is a United States business. And they have to know what their businesses are doing in other countries.
They don't bother them. I did have one friend finally get stopped. You know the penalty is? $50. It's an administrative fine. It's not even a criminal offense. And then they...
Even in Russia, it's an administrative fine, not a criminal offense. But here in America, traffic citations are administrative. They're supposed to be coming as fines, fees, and penalties, but instead they convert them to criminal actions. How does this work? If America is the free country where you can make your dreams come true, why is it they have stricter and more inducive and manipulative and deceitful measures being used in the United States courts than in Russia? Are we really as free as we think we are?
Let them go again. So it's not a problem. Oh, and Russians don't need to follow that because they have their own permanent registration and their own internal passports. They don't have to register everywhere they go. It only applies to foreigners, and I have news for you. In the U.S., the rules against foreigners are way worse than the rules against foreigners here. They can stop you anytime, anywhere, whatsoever you're a foreigner in the U.S.
Anywhere, anytime, for whatsoever, if you're a foreigner in the U.S. Were you born in the United States?
Hell no.
So where's the United States, Russ?
Washington, D.C.
There you go. I don't know of any birth registration in the United States either. How about you, Russ?
No. The
So
Bar Association even agrees with us.
Exactly. And so therefore, if there's no birth registration in the United States, then how can anyone prove that they were born in the United States? If the United States is located in Washington, D.C., and Washington, D.C. has no statehood, how can the United States confer a nationality? I have a lot of questions about exactly. I have a lot of questions about how this is all set up, folks.
So our countries aren't too different on that aspect. So I don't know why Americans should have a heart attack because they're living under basically the same rules in that regard.
They're living under the same basic rules as that regard.
Hey Keith, can't you just live in cognitive dissonance, man?
Absolutely, and I recommend everybody do.
All right.
It'll make it easier for me to see you.
Yes.
Let's see. This is a good one. Don't argue with me. Just obey. This guy goes off on this public servant who is blocking traffic. See, just as they don't have a license to violate our rights, blocking traffic is one of those violations. You can't just go performing your job on the side of the road, being paid, and violating and upholding or holding up traffic.
If you're gonna block the street, without your lights on, I'm gonna come out and we're gonna have a problem.
This sounds like a foreigner. Remember, I said the people of America, through the public education system, are given a social studies course as a part of the curriculum. And as part of that social studies course, they may include some civic service information, but they certainly don't have a valid course to be able to take a civics test to be able to pass that like the immigrants do. See, immigrants, foreigners migrating to the United States have to pass a civics test. So this sounds like one of those such foreigners that knows and has passed that civics test and is trying to uphold or hold these public officials up to their official duties.
I don't give a damn who that is. Get out of the street. Get the road. I don't have to wait. You know what you're doing? This is a disorderly conduct too.
See, if we stopped one of our friends alongside the road, that's what they'd get us for, is disorderly conduct.
Get your sergeant out here. Above you. Hey! You got a problem, Missy? What the hell's wrong with you? This is a public road and you're blocking it. You got a business here? Get the hell off the road. This is business. Where's the emergency lights on? Park your car properly and get the hell off the street.
You can leave, sir.
I can. After you're going to do your job properly and not break the law. This is disorderly too.
You're aggressive.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Exactly. Because you're committing a crime and you're watching it and you're not doing anything about it.
See, they have that moral ethics that I was talking about to uphold the integrity of themselves in that official capacity as a public servant in public trust, which upholds the integrity of the record. And if you can't act within the guidelines of those rules made for government, then you're stepping out of your bounds, and that defiles that integrity, both of yourself and of the record. This is why when we find these officers, we need to look into their record and find out where else they might have defiled that record. As such, violating other people's rights and throwing them in jail under the pretense of their quotas and stuff, and making victims out of the people that they're obligated to begin with. And making them victims by putting them in the public as criminals. By the very criminals that are doing it.
If these dumbass cops would just get real and move their car and say, yeah, you're right. Now she's fucking viral on YouTube. You know?
Exactly. I don't know how many views this video's had, but I'm sure it's getting plenty, just like all these other shorts like this. These people are coming out and they're getting caught. And I'm telling you, it's more and more every day, and we're finding more and more of them being prosecuted and thrown in prison. It is happening. It is becoming more and more, and we are having an effect. I just wish it was a little bit more peaceful, like JG says. I wish they'd just understand the moral principle and go by that.
Yeah, they got to stop letting these lesbians become police, you know?
Absolutely, I'll agree with that one.
Business card. What's your name? Business card now.
TikTok. No. He's trying to film TikTok.
TikTok, yeah, exactly.
Trying to film for TikTok. Yeah, I've been doing this long before TikTok come out, guys. I've been learning about this stuff. I was one of the ones that helped build and program computers before the internet even came about. I've been learning how to keep track of records and make my own journal for many years. I've even got my own memoir started. One day I might be able to finish it, and hopefully I'll be able to leave out all this research bullshit and just get to a straight point about my philosophy in life. We'll see if that ever comes about. Meantime, I'm distracted with all this bullshit I got to take care of because they won't.
Wait, TikTok.
Thank you so much. TikTok.
Piece of trashes, man. Get the hell out of here and do your job right. Yeah, whatever. Your opinion don't mean crap. Yeah.
Now you're committing a crime. See, it's a tit for tat, childish, immature bullshit, insane psychopath. I don't care if she's a lesbian. I don't care if she's a transhuman. I don't care if she's some dude with a dick still between her legs. I don't care.
Bye. Now I was
a little comedy here.
Yo, that's a great laugh. Whoever that is, good for you. You're like a fat Eddie Murphy. You got a great laugh or emphysema, one of those two. No, hold your breath. Breathe. Your heart could use the exercise, man. You're not actually that overweight. That's why I'm making these jokes. You were really fat, it would be uncomfortable. Not for you, for everybody sitting around you. This guy is fucking great, man. Because you could easily beat the shit out of me, and you have elected not to do that. And I'm going to choose to believe it's because you're nice and not because it's too far of a walk for you.
I just thought that was funny. The next one, I don't have to help you identify. That Fifth Amendment.
I don't have to help you identify anyone. That's helping your investigation. That's your job. That's what I pay you to do.
Sure, you understand that she's just trying to gain your compliance, right?
She's just trying to gain your compliance. So if she doesn't gain my compliance, do I have to comply? And not until she gives me a lawful order. And until then, I'm not going to comply. It's that simple.
That's not my problem.
I don't want to take you to jail, but also I'm doing my
You
job.
clearly do, because this is a legal, constitutionally protected activity that you're harassing me over. And then you're lying to me, telling me I have to submit ID to any officer that asks. No, that's incorrect. If you suspect me of a crime and you can articulate it, then yes, I will surrender ID.
Let me clear it.
We cleared up in court.
We're not in court, sir.
We can be very easily.
I would like to avoid that.
I would rather not, because this is going to keep happening until you guys are taught a lesson.
What's that, sir?
That you can't bully people into giving ID when you don't suspect a crime.
Sir, nobody is trying to bully you into anything.
She just told me she could take me to jail if I don't give her my ID.
Absolutely, that's a threat to take a man to jail if he doesn't ID. That is bullying. That is terroristic threat.
But they were right. They're not in court. They're in negotiations.
Exactly. They don't. He doesn't have to comply yet.
You know, Senator John Kennedy is one of our all-time favorites for his one-liners
This is funny.
and his quick Southern wit. But not even I was prepared for him to say the words "sick."
I've got a bunch more tweets. Thank you for your objective advice.
I'm sure you
Doc.
do. You can make put them into a question for the record, and
Yes, I'd like to submit all of.
Unlike Nadler, who will sit there and lie, this guy Kennedy likes to call people out on their shit.
Of the good doctor's objective tweets. and scientific analysis for the record.
That will be done without objection. Senator Merkley.
May I clarify one final point?
Proceed.
These are not my tweets. These are retweets. It's an
Oh,
important
you
contradiction.
often retweet stuff you don't support? Is that what you're telling me, Doc?
I did not say that I don't support this.
So he's supporting it. He did not say that he doesn't support it. So that means he does support it. And it's secondhand. And in his support as secondhand, he's saying it's true.
I simply did not tweet it, which, as you're
But you
alleging,
retweeted
I'd
them,
like
didn't
to make very clear that this
You
form of character
retweeted them,
assassination
didn't
is characteristic of the propaganda techniques
you?
of fossil fuel
You
engineering.
retweeted.
Characteristic of propaganda techniques. No, the propaganda technique is taking secondhand information, supporting it, and then retweeting it as if though it's true. That's propaganda technique.
Senator Merkley.
Didn't.
Thank you.
Are you going to call me a sick?
It's Senator Merkley's time.
So when you take secondhand information that somebody's a sick fuck and then retweet it that they're a sick fuck, implicating that it's true that they're a sick fuck. You know, do you have that capacity going around calling people sick fucks through a retweet and saying it's not something you didn't say you didn't support it, meaning that you do support it? See, these are the insane motherfuckers, and if you don't understand what they're saying, it's because you've been taught the Babylonianized English and the authoritative control that says you need somebody to tell you what you think. You better get out of it, folks. These people are insane right before your own fucking eyes.
I just want to tell you all, go yourself.
Go fuck yourself.
What was that Festus used to say on Gunsmoke? Couldn't read the writing and the writing and the reading or whatever that was.
I'll have to go back and find it. I'm sure there's a clip on it. I'll pull it up one of these days.
Conversations or inside without prior notice.
Conversations?
Yeah, you can't record people.
Yeah, that would be audio recording. That's what it refers to. It refers to
And
audio.
you're videotaping audio.
Yeah, that doesn't matter.
Okay. So you're gonna have to come with us. They want to sign complaints.
They want to sign complaints?
Yeah,
for
against
what?
you for videotaping people.
For videotaping people.
Yeah, and
I want to sign a complaint. He tried to grab my
He did
camera.
not.
Yes, he did. It's on my body camera and my camera.
You can't record conversations.
I wasn't recording conversations. You know that. I was not.
How do I know? You won't tell me any information.
I conducted business. I was in there conducting business. I told you I'm a journalist.
And then, are you leaving now?
I'm not going back in
done
there.
with your business?
I'm done with my business. Yes, I am. I conducted my business, and that's all I need to do. You're going to arrest me because I conducted legal business.
No, but before you're videotaping people without their consent. State statute reads you can't video record.
State statutes read that you can't video record private conversations. No, it doesn't. Like he corrected them, it's audio conversations, private audio conversations. In public, you have the onus of privacy. You have the onus probandi of providing your own privacy. So if you're going to have a private conversation, you have to do it in private, not in public. You can't accuse somebody of video recording in public, which they have every right to do, and catching your private conversation on their video because you didn't provide the privacy of the conversation. You performed it in public. That's on you.
Is it common practice at your department to meet with dark money groups off the books and conceal it from the public?
If you're referring to our former deputy secretary, he's no longer at the department.
Who worked for you?
He worked for the president. He was appointed by the president.
He's your...
This gal's trying to shove the responsibility, obligation, liability, culpability, all that on other people when it's directly under her supervision that this shit happens.
Deputy secretary. I thought that's why you were here. Are you the secretary? Don't look at her, look at me.
Yes.
Are you the secretary? Do these people who are sitting here today answering most of your questions, do they work for you?
They work.
Do they report for you? You're not in charge?
They work with me.
They work with you, so you're not in charge of the department. Oh my gosh, I thought you were in charge. I thought that's why you were here.
See, she's trying to equate her authority as equal across the board, and that everybody's culpable and responsible, and therefore you really can't find out who is. No, you're the head of the department there. You're the secretary. You're the one that keeps the minutes of the meeting, right? You're the one that qualifies what the quorum is and whether that quorum vote is proper. You're the one that does all those regulatory upkeeps, okay?
We work as a
Yeah,
team.
she's gone.
That's where God said he can be found is in the head, right?
Yeah. We're supposed to seek counsel in him.
I provide the vision, I provide the overall direction, and
But you're not in charge.
our mission.
Do you take responsibility for what happens at the Department of the Interior?
Take responsibility.
Do you take full responsibility for what happens at the Department of the Interior? Good. Then why are your leaders?
Yes. Then why are you trying to off it to we all work together? Why are you trying to off it to the president? Why are you trying to off it to other people? If you just admitted that it's your responsibility. See how insane these fuckers are? They will stand there and admit it and deny it in the same fucking short minute or two.
Leadership meeting with dark money groups. And is it common practice?
Pathetic. Sickening. These are the
Who are you, man?
These are the kind of people that those that vote, register to vote, vote into public so that they can regulate out plastic straws in paper wraps and then start using paper straws in plastic wraps and still have basically the exact same essential problem and never really dealt with the actual issue, which was the plastics and its use to begin with, no matter in what form.
And the billions of dollars they spend on that and all the homelessness in the world.
Yeah, and all the empty homes. Pathetic.
For what? Yeah, what's up? Well, let me see your ID then. You got a badge number?
Oh, yeah? Yeah, I saw you in the store.
You saw me walk out without paying for it?
I saw you walk through the store.
And? Oh, wow.
See, another one that doesn't witness any crime, but he saw something, and he's going to interpret it as a crime. And he's not even wearing a badge. Says he's a police officer.
Oh yeah, how many other people did you see walk through the store?
Yeah, and he's going to white knight for the store because evidently nobody else saw him walking through the store, but he checked out.
Oh, yeah? How about that? Well, there we go. Can we see your receipt? How about this guy right here? He says he's an officer. He says I didn't pay for my food. He's lying.
I saw you pay for the food at the chicken place, but I didn't see you pay for the dog food.
What's this sticker, man?
Talk to me first.
I don't want to listen to you, man. I'm pissed off, dude. I'm being accused of stealing in front of everybody. I work hard, man. I bust my ass every day, man.
If I see a receipt for the dog food,
there's your receipt right there, bro.
If I see a receipt for the dog food, I'm good. Who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you? You are not my daddy. Fuck off.
You better show me proof that I stole this.
And this guy gave in. He showed him the receipt. I'd have waited till I got to court and showed him evidence that receipt says U.S. debit. And he just made a false claim against the United States.
Bro, come on.
Yeah, but Keith, you're trying to make him look dumb in the fucking moment.
Make him look dumb and what?
In the moment, show him he's showing the receipt in the moment just to make him look dumb. It's all on camera, real quick. You're an idiot, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
You know what? You're a tyrant. I work hard
for a receipt. I didn't accuse you of anything.
Yeah, you did.
I only asked for a receipt. I didn't accuse you of anything. That's why you asked for the receipt, because you said you didn't see him pay for the dog food. That is the accusation. These people are fucking insane. Say one thing and then deny it the next minute.
Boar's Head has crafted an ode to legendary barbecue. A sweet.
More breaking news tonight. A civil rights attorney tells us 3 Harris County jail guards are charged in a brutal beating.
And we broke the story about a year ago. A man left in a coma. The incident happening as the jail was dealing with a record number of deaths. ABC 13's Alex Bazargian joining us now live.
Alex, that man survived. His attorney tonight points out that charges like this are rare.
Yeah, and that's the aggravation and the complaint from so many victims and attorneys who have to rely on slow-moving civil action to get any sort of justice. We did reach out to the Harris County Sheriff's Office on the 3 men charged here, but we're still waiting to hear back.
We're not saying that this has to be a 5-star hotel at the Harris County Jail,
But Randall Callanan says those taken into custody certainly shouldn't be beaten like this. His client, Adel Gonzalez Garcia, sustained these injuries back in November of 2022. They were so severe, he was in a coma for a month.
A big chunk of his skull was broken into so many pieces, they couldn't even let it heal. They had to take it out, and then 8 months later, they replaced it with a big piece of plastic.
The sheriff's office initially said that Gonzalez Garcia, who was arrested on a DWI warrant in 2022, fell off his bunk bed. And when he was at the medical clinic, fell to the ground and hit his head when he got into a fight with a detention officer. But now 3 people are facing assault charges.
They have given no new narrative.
Nor have they released video of what happened. However, 3 people are now accused of assaulting Gonzalez Garcia. Court documents.
And I assure you, like I said before, they have cameras. So unless they altered the video or hid the camera somehow, that incident was caught.
Show a charge against Jimmy Poole and Ezewe Ozembiki for hitting him in the head. One also filed against John Ziesmer for allegedly throwing Garcia Gonzalez to the ground. Callanan says they all work as Harris County jail guards.
Usually, it's been historically that hardly any charges come out of the Harris County Jail for assaults on inmates by guards. But in this instance, we don't have just 1, but we have 3.
Callanan said.
And this goes to the perspective of pattern of practice as well. If you've got more than one doing it and they're doing it together, that itself shows a pattern of practice. Either in the past that needs to be looked into, or the fact that they conspired to do it together this time and imputes an intent that they may possibly do it again, specifically if they do get away with it. They'll just move on to another police force. Something like that.
Notice how they said they put plastic in his head too. Like, you know, that's another thing. It's like plastic. You're gonna put that in somebody's fucking brain in their skull.
Yeah, it's something that's not natural, and we're put through these processes and needing these surgeries after we're gunned down and beat up and shit. I've got an implant in my left eye socket because of it. You know.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't the original intent in all of this an experiment anyway?
What do you mean?
With the government and all of that, the whole medical and all of it.
Well, yeah, it's all in development stages to perfect it. And again,
further education.
Right. History shows that it's never been perfected, likely never will.
As Gonzalez Garcia and his family will speak publicly about the charges tomorrow. While it's a step towards justice, Callanan says his client was sentenced to a life of pain.
Hasn't been cleared to go back to work yet. And of course, this has caused him really great psychological harm. So he has to deal with that, almost being killed by being beaten. Almost.
So when it comes to that psychological aspect, I'm not going to say I've actually been psychologically harmed. But I will say I have been psychologically warned. I have observed through those 94 cases certain psychologies behind things and how they happened, and the narcissistic and what do they call it, Dunning-Kruger effect that these people seem to have. I'm no professional, but it certainly seems to me these people think they're smarter than everybody else, and therefore they'll ask you from the bench, do you understand English?
Yeah, they try to get away with everything, you know, and then shit gets real and they realize they fucked up.
Yeah, well, shit's about to get real now. 94 cases going to the IRS for for all those unlawful conversions that I never knew about, and every last one of them's got taxes attached to them. Tell me that isn't some kind of abusive trust scheme.
Almost to death.
Three Harris County Sheriff's Office detention officers were indicted by a grand jury this week, and they are accused of severely beating a former inmate in the jail in 2022.
And the man gave his reaction to Fox 26 here today. Sherman Cassell joining us live from the jail with what he and his attorneys
This is an update on that case.
had to say. Sherman.
Yeah, good evening, Anthony Rashi. The man's name is Adiel Gonzalez Garcia, and he was in a coma shortly after he was beaten inside the Harris County Jail. He says he still deals with the remnants of it to this day, dizziness, headaches, and he is yet to return to work. His attorneys tell us that the indictments are just the beginning of justice being served.
Once I went inside the jail, they started hitting me. I don't remember, and I went into a coma.
Adiel Gonzalez Garcia stood in front of the facility where he says he was beaten almost to death.
They said I fell from the bed, and that's not true. I've had several surgeries on my head, my skull outside, everything.
Garcia was arrested on an outstanding misdemeanor warrant November 2022.
See, when he ended up in a coma, I guess they maybe didn't expect him to wake up. They'd beat him so bad. See, some of these people know what they're doing. You can't dismiss that. These people should be put up for high crimes. They have a public service as a public trust, and they violated that very public trust and their oath of office and their contracts. They violated everything to do with moral ethics.
He says on the day after Thanksgiving, while being escorted back to the jail from the clinic, he was brutally assaulted by guards. His injuries caused him to go into a coma. 3 detention officers were indicted by a grand jury on charges related to that incident. A 4th jailer lost his corrections license. Attorneys say this indictment is unprecedented for the jail, but more should be done in a facility with several in-custody deaths reported in the last 2 years.
Several in-custody deaths over the last 2 years.
This is Houston, Texas, by the way, Harris County.
Houston, Texas? Yep. I wouldn't doubt it.
They need to get body camera videos for the guards.
Absolutely. Like I was saying, if they've got cameras in this facility, they may hide them and stuff, but when we start enforcing that they have to wear those body cameras as part of their public service and they're not going to get away without wearing them, we find any incidents where they're not wearing them, we have a record, a set of servers that can keep that record. It's not a matter of space anymore to keep those records.
I think that they shouldn't have the obligations of turning them on and off either.
No, that's what I'm saying. They should be on 24/7 while they're on the job. Anytime they're on the job, those cameras are on.
But, you know,
And
they've used those
then
excuses before, private information, but all of that stuff can be, you know, covered out. So there's no reason, no real reason to turn them off.
No, none at all. Particularly when public service is public service, not private.
to release the videos when there's incidents so the public can maintain their trust in the jail system.
The department says Internal Affairs is investigating. Attorneys for Garcia are pushing for change in the jail through convictions in the case.
There is no reason why an investigation and a agency that is required to investigate, like the sheriff's office, investigate crimes, should not have brought this to the district attorney's office sooner.
So with the announcement on the indictment, Sheriff Ed Gonzalez issued a statement today. It reads, quote, HCSO officers are entrusted to provide care and a safe environment for those in our custody. We take these matters seriously and conduct an internal review of all use of force incidents. All employees are held accountable for their actions and must adhere to all protocols and policies. The investigation is ongoing at this time. Okay.
So, General Orders number 100, Lieber Code. Article 15. Military necessity admits of all direct destruction of life or limb of armed enemies and of other persons whose destruction is incidentally unavoidable in the armed contests of war. It allows of the capturing of every armed enemy and every enemy of importance to the hostile government or of peculiar danger to the captor. It allows of all destruction of property and of the obstruction of the ways and channels of traffic, travel, or communication, and of withholding of sustenance or means of life from the enemy, of the appropriation of whatever an enemy's country affords necessary for the subsistence and safety of the army, and of such deception as does not involve the breaking of good faith, either positively pledged regarding agreements entered into during the war or supposed by the modern law of war to exist. That's an assumption, a presumption, an implication. Men who take up arms against one another in public war do not cease on this account to be moral beings responsible to one another and to God. While remembering, Article 10 says that martial law affects chiefly the police and collection of public revenue and taxes, whether imposed by the expelled government or by the invader, and refers mainly to the support and efficiency of the army, its safety, and the safety of its operations.
Coming up at 10, we're going to hear from someone who stood on Garcia's side today. He's a former jail supervisor here at the Harris County Jail, longtime supervisor, who talks about the culture inside the jail and why that needs to change. You can find more information about who was involved in this incident on fox26houston.com.
So hopefully they'll get some resolve in that case down there.
Culture.
Classified information. I did not share it with my ghostwriter. I did not. Guarantee you did not.
My team and I conducted a thorough, independent.
Well, surprisingly enough, I think it's the culture that's going to break their back. See, it's like I said earlier, if we have all these immigrants coming in and they're subject to a civics test in order to get their naturalization paperwork, then they're going to have a lot more people that know the civics behind everything. And that's why I urge people here in America to go beyond that high school education. And again, don't believe me, don't believe the neighbor, don't believe the government, for crying out loud. Don't believe your mother. Do your research so you know. Quit the believing stuff. You see, the foreigners don't believe. They ask questions.
Investigation. We identified evidence that the president willfully retained classified materials after the end of his vice presidency when he was a private citizen.
These are things they accused President Trump of, and now they're finding out that it was in fact Biden that did this. See, it's all a projection, deflection, trying to get Trump into trouble for stuff that Biden did, and it's blatant. They're making false accusations by making the same accusations that should apply to themselves to others in almost every case.
They're all fake.
Well, yeah,
senseless.
They accused Trump of meddling with the vote when in fact it was Biden and others, and they accused Trump of making big money off of foreign investments when in fact it was Hunter Biden and Joe Biden and John Biden and others in the Biden family, just like the Clintons.
Yo, and picture them doing this, and the whole time they're just like laughing. They have that insane laugh.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's how fucked up these people get.
Yep.
That's how foolish people get. You know.
And you know, another perspective I want to point out. I wonder what kind of medications they've got Biden on when he's up at the podium and he lasts for a certain amount of time, and then that medication wears off, and all of a sudden they got to get him off stage.
Well, they should give him some fentanyl. Good heavy dose of fentanyl.
Something.
This evidence included an audio recorded conversation during which Mr. Biden told his ghostwriter that he had, quote, just found all the classified stuff downstairs, end quote.
Of his private residence.
When Mr. Biden said this, he was a private citizen speaking to his ghostwriter in his private rental home in Virginia.
After he was vice president.
We also identified other recorded conversations during which Mr. Biden read classified information aloud to his ghostwriter.
Read classified information aloud to his ghostwriter.
Where's the national security?
Well, that's what you get.
Anyway.
Anyway.
Guy's a fucking loser, man.
Yeah, that's the context of my daughter saying whatever. The fuck it is whatever. We're gonna get to the bottom of this, you dumb fucks. You're violating the public trust at the highest degree. I see this man as treasonous. I don't give no fucking inches and no fucks.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you to leave. I'm gonna give you a chance to leave. I'm gonna go sit back in my car. So if I come back,
I'm gonna give you the chance to leave, really. I don't think you give me a motherfucking thing when it comes to Psalms 121, verse 8. The Lord shall preserve my going out and my coming in from this time forth and for even forevermore. So I'll seek my counsel in him. You got any questions for him?
in the next 5
You want
minutes,
to bet your qualified immunity on that?
and you're still
I'll bet you qualified immunity on it.
standing
Officer,
here.
what's your name and badge number?
So it's Kellen Palillo, 1135.
1135.
So
I'm going to give you a chance to go get back in your car and leave, or you're going to lose your qualified immunity.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Okay, all right. Guess what he does? You see him leave. He knows exactly what this man said. You lose your qualified immunity once I give you first notice in law is legal. First duty in law is give legal notice. I'm giving you your legal notice right now. If you need me to, I will write it down. But in the meantime, understand it's going to be in the word of God, rightly dividing the word of truth. So when I say I didn't give you a first and last name, I gave you the given name and the surname. And I didn't give you a birth date. I gave you the day I think I was born on. And you write it down otherwise, you're the one that lied, not me. Do I need to write it down? No, because he's going to write it down. And when he writes it down, he's going to do it in babble. He's going to do it in the only way he knows without comprehending the very truth behind it. He too was indoctrinated into that grammar. Oh, it's got to be the first and last name. You don't even know what the first and last name is, motherfucker. Well, sure I do. This is the first name and this is the last name. Fucking morons.
You were arrested in a government building. You were trying to get the police and the mayor's office to do their jobs.
Yeah, ultimately that's what it was.
It has come to my attention that Sergeant Neary is a tool of the mobster mayor. He allegedly ordered his goon Vickens to remove Joe, no questions asked. And where else did he have to turn to? The police won't protect him. The mayor's office and the mayor's people won't protect him. There's a whole bunch of corruption that apparently...
This guy's good too. I like this guy, Leroy Truth. He's done some of his own audits and stuff, and he's familiar with a few of the auditors in his area and stuff, and he puts together a real good forum.
You see the one he did where he showed the mayor come a little unhinged up there in New Jersey?
Do what?
The mayor, I think it was the mayor. came a little unhinged. On me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He'll get people unhinged. It's part of the process of auditing. All kinds of people are going to be unhinged. I can't even do an audit. I just call them on the phone and they get unhinged.
I know. I know.
Going on there, the mayor is an ex-con who did 7 years for racketeering and gets elected mayor again after he gets out of federal prison. Authoritarians like Sergeant Neary helped create the secretive environment Mayor Ganem used to commit his crimes, which sent him to federal prison for 7 years. The mayor's office will not support him. In fact, they are hurting him. They have taken away his freedom. They're trying to take away more of his freedom and more of his hard-earned money with these trumped-up charges of trespassing in a public building.
Trespassing in a public building. Again, you cannot trespass in a public building. The people that are in that public building are in public office, and they have an obligation to we the people. They cannot trespass we the people because they have an obligation. The only way they can trespass you is if you first have a cause, probable cause, that you actually committed a crime. And those crimes are defined in the scripture, not in their statutes. Saying fuck you is not a crime. Telling someone to suck your cock is not a crime. I wouldn't suggest doing that in public because you're going to get a better result if you hold your good candor of honor and truth, integrity, steadfastness, boldness.
No pictures. No pictures. Sir.
Yes, sir.
No pictures.
I'm okay.
Oh, you're taking a picture.
They're okay with me being here, just doing a quick video. I'll blur out everything that's on there.
You want me to get the police officer?
Yes, sir. Go get the police officer.
See, so you want me to go get the police officer? So we have a private man standing out in the street, and he's going to tell you that you can't record. Where the fuck is his authority? I'm not even going to talk to him. You better just go do what you need to do. I don't want to talk to some clown that's going to call some clown on me. Go ahead and call the clown on me, you clown.
Can you just step back that way?
No, I have permission to be on private property here. You have no jurisdiction over private property, Officer Rivera.
From who?
The homeowners right here. I just got it from them. So unless you have anything else, go get back in your car and leave me alone.
Okay. Well, I've been respectful to you, but
You didn't just now when you tell me I need to get back, when you have no jurisdiction to tell me what to do.
Okay.
Okay. Roll your.
Okay. See, that's the same thing. Whatever. No, it's not whatever. The real issue, again, is you fell victim to a clown, called you in your clown suit to come over and clown around, and you found out you can't clown around with somebody who knows what the fuck's going on.
Your eyes. Let's get back in your car. We'll have a different. We'll do it differently next time, I'm sure. But today, this is how it is.
I'm glad you feel that way. In case you didn't hear that, that's what she said in the background. I'm glad you feel that way. No, that's the way it is. It's not the way I feel.
So how'd that work out for you?
I think you're pretty obstinate, sir.
I think you're pretty obstinate. I'm going to follow the law, and I'm going to uphold you in following that law, and I'm the obstinate one because you don't want me to follow the law. You want me to follow your fucking feelers, you immature beta cuck motherfucker in his POPD suit and going to go over and get another clown who happens to be a female. Sickening shit. All part of the psychological game, folks. Played out right before your eyes.
I've already told you you're not welcome in the property, and I'm not cooperating with you, and I'd like for you to leave. I was in an argument with my sister on the phone. I've already told you that. It's already been proven. My mom's corroborated it. You've been asked to leave. I don't know why you're still harassing me. Are you having fun? Because this is boring for me.
Post your video, Scott. I don't mind.
I'm sending it to Lackluster. And
Scott is wise to stay within his home. While seemingly harmless, the act of placing a foot inside the door frame is a violation of Scott's Fourth Amendment right.
The people have the right to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects. Period. I don't care if you're doing an investigation. Just because you're doing an investigation doesn't mean you get to violate my Fourth Amendment right, and you're searching to qualify my Fifth Amendment violation of not having to speak against myself. Take your investigation somewhere else.
Scott, I'm not going to go away until you identify who you are. I'm not.
You don't need my identification. You need to do your investigation. If you have a crime, then you know who did it. You already know who you're talking to. So you don't need him to identify. You're trying to get him to say he's something he's not.
Not violating any rights.
you are right now. I want to close the door and your foot's in the door and you already know that it was just an argument on the phone and you know my
As
identity.
soon as Officer Harris is done speaking with your mom.
You know, it was just an argument on the phone, and you already know my identity. So, yeah, he's actually right. They already know. Otherwise, they wouldn't have come to his door.
We'll get out.
And they've already talked to his mom, who already told him who he was and what happened. He was on the phone with his sister and argued.
Your hair. Good hair? Yep. Really? Yep. Scott, you have a good day, man.
Hey, man, you too.
In April, just a few months after the video, Scott received a notification that the state is pursuing charges against him for failing to provide ID during a domestic violence investigation.
During a domestic violence investigation, again, you're saying that he has to give ID and violate his own Fifth Amendment right not to incriminate himself by demanding that he provide ID to incriminate himself. Otherwise, you wouldn't come forth with these criminal charges without an actual domestic violence charge.
I've already told you you're not welcome on the.
The logic just isn't there, folks.
I'm still trying to determine if what you're claiming is correct or what she's claiming.
Doesn't really matter. I can take pictures of anybody's house from the public spot. You can't trespass my eyes, and you cannot stop me from taking any pictures of anything from a public spot.
Pictures or video, knowing that they are different. A video is just multiple pictures back to back.
That's correct.
So why are we here talking?
Because the reason this has gone on so long is because you won't cooperate.
I don't need to cooperate.
Okay.
I don't need to.
The officer agrees again that even if the lady's accusations are true, that it's perfectly legal, and that the only reason CM is still detained is because he won't surrender his Fourth or Fifth Amendment rights.
I would need to if I'd committed a crime, correct?
Well, if I knew that you had committed a crime, you would already
am I
be
being
pulled out.
suspected?
Right. See what he said there? That's that probable cause. With reasonable articulable suspicion, he'd already pulled him out, but he doesn't have either. So he's trying to qualify first by reasonable articulable suspicion without having it and demanding an ID so he can identify somebody and then say some kind of crime. See, it doesn't fall in the pattern in which it's supposed to be. There is no order to it. It's not logical.
Of committing a crime. Am I being, that's a yes or no. Am I being suspected of committing a crime? Do you suspect me of committing a crime?
At this time, no.
So he has no probable cause in which to investigate for reasonable articulable suspicion that a crime was committed, is being committed, or will be committed. There's no probable cause.
Okay, then have a nice day. Kick rocks. You're dismissed.
Other than I'm smelling an odor coming from your car.
Oh,
other than I'm smelling an odor coming from your car. Nice try, dickhead. Maybe it's your ass hairs or something. Get on with your fucking insanity. Go somewhere else. You can't just go creating shit out of thin air anymore. Ain't gonna happen.
Hey, welcome to the camera party, sir. Oh, join.
Please join us.
What's this about?
I'm sorry?
What's this about?
What's what about?
Why are you filming people?
Is there any reason why you're so close to me?
Yeah.
That's theft. That's theft.
Call the fucking cops.
We're gonna get this guy arrested today. Let me get my stuff back.
Nah, you ain't getting shit.
See, this is how stupid these public slaves, these Hitler's willing executioners will go. They're not even on the job. They're just out at their pleasure and going to go costing other people out on their pleasure by violating their rights, assuming and presuming and projecting that their rights of being recorded in public and not consenting to is supersedes. No, you have a right to not be recorded in public if you can provide the onus probandi of that privity. In other words, go ahead and put on a fucking mask.
Get the fuck off me! Get the
You fucking bitch ass slaves.
fuck off me! Look at this clown, yo.
I'm cool.
Look at him.
Could be construed depending on the equipment, at least as a battery, or assault with a deadly weapon, depending on the interpretation of the law. Which means both of you could be charged with felonies today. I'm independent, man. I work regardless of what happens. So I'm just telling you, I have at least 3 people.
I have video evidence. If you want to see it.
You want to show me? Yeah. Okay. So what do you want to tell me?
I want him arrested.
Okay, so once he showed him the video and showed that it was the other man's cause and blame, he was the cause. He was the probable cause. He's the one that stole his equipment. He had to do what he had to get it back. So once he showed him the video, okay, what do you want to do? Bye-bye.
Hey, welcome to the camera party, sir.
Bye-bye. Get a look. It's all insane, folks. Don't get involved in it unless you know what you're doing.
Check out Candace Owens triggering this liberal with a little bit of the truth.
What am I supposed to mark on an application? Plus, if you are painting people as an oppressor, if you're white,
That's a
and then
terrible
saying
thing to
that
tell
you're
someone to do.
oppressed,
Well,
it's the truth because you believe in affirmative action. So I said mark black. I'm in an interracial relationship, so I can speak to this. I have a son that's half white and a son that's half black and a daughter that's half white and half black.
Okay.
They're going to mark black because I know that there are people.
And see, when it comes to that affirmative action, you might be a little miffed to find out that that affirmative action is what's putting people in these positions that aren't qualified because they have to fill them with certain quotas of different cultured peoples and different genders. And goodness gracious, now we've got transgender and transhuman, and they got to help fill, they can't show any discrimination, so they got to employ these people. But my God, how do you expect people to employ you in their Christian societies when you're running around with horns implanted in your head and tattoos of Satan on your neck and all kinds of shit like that? What do you expect in your own insanity?
Yeah, real shit. Fuck the quotas, though. I mean, quotas, that's a big problem right there.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what affirmative action is. It's to fill imaginary quotas that will qualify people through gender and culture and stuff rather than through qualifications. So what we have is a bunch of people in these public offices that aren't really qualified. They're hired for a specific rather than a knowledge.
Yeah, and they're just getting tricked.
Yep, they're puppets.
People like you at the universities who will say, well, because this person is black, I'm just going to let them in.
No, they're going to mark black because they're black.
Well, they're half black and half white. They're both, right? So it is true. You overlook
I'm half black.
But he goes around and he marks black. He's half white, half black, wants to admit that everywhere except on paperwork where he puts down black. You see the discrepancy? Well, yeah, you're white and black. People can see that. But when you write things on paperwork, you never claim white, because that doesn't give you the qualified integral part of being treated special as if you were black. Everybody's being indoctrinated. Get over it.
Right, so you overlook interracial students. So what do you mean? Why are you saying yes?
So on the paperwork, how come there isn't a classification of half white, half black? How about half native, half white? How about half black, half native? How about half Mexican, half black? How come there aren't those categories?
As socialized in our society. So the answer is if you
Because it's a social technique.
can't, I mean, you can mark both. Can you mark both? I don't know if you can.
For political sciences in international relations.
And what are you going to look at that applicant as a little bit less because they're half white? How do you guys figure that out?
How they look at it is, again, holistically across a number of different factors.
I love me a buzzword. Holistically and racial.
Yeah, holistically. That's a good one. While professing it's racial. That's why you're marking down black.
Consciousness.
Oh yeah, reverse discrimination. There's a
It's not reverse discrimination.
There's another one, reverse discrimination. No, it's discrimination. Period.
It's just discrimination. It's just racism if you're judging people on the basis of their skin color.
Check out Candace Owens.
I prefer intellectualism.
Yeah, I'm tired of hearing that reverse racism shit, man.
Absolutely.
Victim fucking bullshit.
Begin with an Oklahoma.
Okay, here's one. Like I said, these people are just like us in every manner. This is a judge charged in a drive-by shooting.
Oklahoma judge in court, but on the opposite side of the bench.
He was there to face newly filed felony charges for allegedly shooting up his own brother-in-law's home. News 4's Amaya Ward went to Enid for today's hearing.
The judge entered a not guilty plea on behalf of Brian Lovell, his attorney telling me they plan to fight.
Telling me that they didn't put forth a plea and that the judge had to put forth a plea of not guilty. See, they even do it to themselves. It's not just us that they enter a plea of guilty or not guilty in for you if you don't.
This case vigorously.
We intend to attack the jurisdiction and soundness of the indictment.
The jurisdiction and the soundness. When it comes to the soundness, he's talking about the words, the merits. Does it have spiritual credence? In other words, they're going to the competency and the emotional, mental states that a man might have been in when it happened. In other words, they're not denying that it might have happened. They're going to the merits of why it might have happened and saying that he had probable cause. They're flipping the tables, folks.
Multi-county grand jury indicting Garfield County Associate District Judge Brian Lovell Thursday on 2 felony counts for a drive-by shooting in February 2023. The alleged target, his own brother-in-law. We talked to him months after.
I had no idea that it could have been Brian Lovell.
Kenneth Marcus says his son saw an unfamiliar car moments before bullets began flying.
Seeing a person in a window and missing by a matter of inches is not just a random shooting.
Months later, investigators say the judge was involved in a road rage shooting in Austin, Texas, and casings from that incident matched the ones used in the drive-by shooting.
So he did a drive-by shooting, then he got months later involved in a road rage incident. These are the people that my mom and dad tried to convince me as I was growing up that I needed to learn how to fly like eagles. You know, be a doctor or a lawyer or something like that someday, Keith. Go to college and get that degree. No thanks, Mom. These people are despicable.
He was special judge about 10 years before that.
His attorney, Stephen Jones, who also represented Oklahoma City bomber Timothy McVeigh, won't comment on the case in Texas, but is standing by his client on the charges in Oklahoma.
It was a long time before the indictment was returned, and that bears on him and his family.
I don't care how long it took. It came back as an indictment, saying that there's enough evidence, and I don't care who it bears on. If there's enough evidence that the state feels competent to find him guilty, then those are the merits that are based on that the case are based on. Time is not determinate unless it violates the time limit. I don't know that there's a time limit on an indictment. That's the investigative presentment. And it can happen at any time and take as long as they want to look over the evidence, even if it's years.
Family. But he's strong character. In my view, he's innocent.
In Enid, Amaya Ward, Oklahoma's News 4.
All right, Amaya, we know you'll follow what Lovell is expected back in court sometime in August.
Strong character. Yeah. Got 2 recent charges showing he was most certainly involved in the deadly conduct of a weapon.
Yeah, he's on some Timothy McVeigh shit himself.
Absolutely. I think he has a issue with authority. He thinks he has too much, or he believes he has enough to do what he's doing and be impugned. I don't think so.
Hey, he's trying to be gangster.
Oops. Don't know what that one was. No. What happened? Did I lose my screen share? I did. Okay. So at the end of the day, folks, what we're talking about is their basic obligation of public service. Under Administrative Personnel, Office of Government Ethics, Standards for Ethical Conduct for Employees of the Executive Branch. And this is for every document that is executed. Understand the language. It's an instrumentality of the government, being a negotiable instrument that has to be signed one way or another. Public service is a public trust. Each employee has a responsibility to the United States government and its citizens to place loyalty to the Constitution, laws, and ethical principles above private gain. To ensure that every citizen can have complete confidence in the integrity of the federal government, each employee shall respect and adhere to the principles of ethical conduct set forth in this section. That's each employee shall respect and adhere to the principles of ethical conduct set forth. That's you as employees. You are supposed to respect and adhere to the principles of ethical conduct. Period. If I have to bring you up to that ethical conduct of understanding that you are the holder of the record and you have a duty and obligation to the integrity of the record through your own integrity of making sure that record is correct, you are the one that has the responsibility to research and resolve those issues. Particularly when you've been given notice of what those issues are by the benefactor who you're obligated to, as well as implementing standards contained in this part and in supplemental agency regulations. General principles. The following general principles apply to every employee and may form the basis for the standards contained in this part. Where a situation is not covered by the standards set forth in this part, employees shall apply the principles set forth in this section in determining whether their conduct is proper, in determining whether their conduct is proper. This is the self-criticism that you as public servants in a public trust are supposed to maintain through ethical standards. If you don't hold those ethical standards above your job and want to sit there and tell me that you're just doing your job, you're not just doing your job. I assure you, there's so much more to your job than just doing your job. Hitler's willing executioners, willing to execute documentation against the very basic principle of the integrity of both yourself and the record. When it comes to that federal government, that's that 5 CFR 575, again, under Administrative Personnel, Office of Personnel Management, Civil Service Regulations, Recruitment, Relocation, and Retention Incentives, supervisory differentials, and extended assignment incentives. Social Security number is an assignment to an individual who owes a debt to the United States, so that he can therefore execute by signing all negotiable instruments as so authorized by the Social Security Administration. Competencies means the knowledge, skills, abilities, behaviors, and other characteristics of an individual or characteristics an individual needs to perform the duties of a position. Federal government means all entities of the government of the United States, including the United States Postal Service and the Postal Regulatory Commission, which draws us to the United States courts, the administrative personnel, and the fact that they, under the judicial determination of those very fines, fees, penalties, surcharges, charges, taxes, imposts, excises. The Judicial Officer Department is a neutral, independent forum within the United States Postal Service, comprised of the Judicial Officer, the Office of the Administrative Law Judges, and the Postal Service Board of Contract Appeals. So show me this contract. Otherwise, I'm going to have to insist that you fulfill your contract under performance for your pay as you've already been paid in the past to do such a job and are supposed to be qualified to do so. See, you have a contract. I don't. And I'm going to have to express the trust that shows that your contract shows and proves that you are obligated under that contract to the obligee, myself. And in violating that, you've been violating my rights 1st, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 9th, and 10th, and 14th. The Judicial Officer Electronic Filing System is where you can file a new case, ask to be added to an existing case, or work with cases in which you are already a party or representative. And I do believe it says in 26 USC 6201 under assessment authority. Like I said, we're going to the IRS to do a full forensic securities audit. And it says, which have not been duly paid by stamp, all lowercase. Authority of Secretary. The Secretary is authorized and required to make the inquiries, determinations, and assessments of all taxes, including interest, the real party of interest, additional amounts, additions to the tax, and assessable penalties, imposed, that's that imposition of an impost, by its title, or by this title, or accruing under any former Internal Revenue law, which have not been duly paid by stamp at the time and in the manner provided by law. This is telling us, without saying so, that taxes are duly paid by stamp, because it says which have not been duly paid by stamp, meaning they are to be duly paid by stamp at the time, to be, and in the manner provided by law. We have to understand, people, that's their documentation. They're responsible for it, not us. We have to get out of the involvement of that kind of paperwork and give them our yay and our nay. We have to be able to discern the insanity as we see it in every situation. If you want equity, you must first come with equity. This means making sure that the language is correct. This is the door to equity is the mistakes. Correct the record. In every instance, even when dealing with these people, the information they're asking for, if they ask you to identify yourself, hey, I have been given the name Keith. The surname is Little. I hear I was born August 20th. If they write it down as the first and last name and a birth date, they're the ones that converted that language as you specifically gave it to them. In knowing the difference in the language, and you give them that information, you're able to qualify in affidavit form. I never gave them a first and last name. I know the difference between the first and last name, the given name, and the surname. The first and last name is the legal translation of the given name and family name by Social Security Administration. And when they connect it to the Social Security number, that's the individual's name and number, and that identifies the record and not me. I don't have a number. That belongs to the individual so recorded by first and last name. That's not me. That's a record that was created as a U.S. citizenship by state resident for income tax purposes as a United States business. I'm not the United States business. I'm not even qualified to run one. I've been unemployed for at least 8 years. You find no tax records, nothing. How do you qualify me as such? Your records are in error. Understanding the language and realizing what these people are trying to ask and what they're saying from minute to minute is imperative to understand their babble. Naylor got up there and said, quote, this is the Second Amendment, and then forgot the three words of the people, which are key. It's not the right to bear arms, it's the right of the people to keep and bear arms. By omitting those and saying that he's quoting it verbatim, he lied. Same with everybody else is saying, well, I'm investigating. Well, what crime are you investigating? Well, I don't know yet. Then you just lied. You can't possibly be investigating a crime that has already happened or that is occurring now or you expect to occur in the future by me because you can't even state the law which you believe is being broken. Don't know yet. Anyway, we come to the end of this stream. I want to thank everybody for your support and your attendance here. I wish you guys would speak up more, because I know you have opinions on this stuff. But what do you got on the way out, guys?
People are insane.
I have opinions, but I tend to, fall in line with your same way of thinking. So it's kind of hard for me because I see it so easily now, and you just I don't know. It's hard for me to even comprehend that people can't understand it.
Yeah, to me, it's simple language. It's just a matter of taking the time to read it. And of course, again, it's because we weren't taught this simple stuff before that now we have to search through all these laws and codes and rules and regulations to find it. So then we can turn around and teach it to others step by step. And it's
right. And in that whole system, it's not like you got, say, you and I, and you're saying I did something and I'm saying something else. Well, they've got this whole posse against us. You got every agency and every person within that agency that's, so-called and trusted, right? And they're all saying the same damn thing, and it's all a damn lie.
Yep, and that's why I say, we're finally just going to go to the IRS. It's been over 6 months since they took that $3,800 and some odd dollars from my companion. And nobody wants to stand up and help us rectify it. Nobody at the Unity Point, nobody at the Mercy One, nobody at the city, nobody at the county. nobody at the bank. They tried to hide the record at the local county. It started out in Cedar Rapids through their court. They don't have any record of it. Black Hawk County said they don't have any record of it. They're the ones that ended up giving us record of it. And when they gave us that record, it was like 50 some pages at 50 cents a copy that they gave us for free, because I let them know we're going to just end up having to do a forensic securities audit on it through the IRS then. Okay, I guess that's what they want. You know, I gave them fair warning. You know, I don't want to do this. I'd rather do this peacefully through some kind of indemnification, but nobody wants to say they're responsible. Well, now we're going to find out who is responsible. And if they find them guilty, they find them guilty. I just want everything corrected for me to make me and my companion whole again. You know, so we'll see how it happens.
And you know, it should be as simple as that. I mean, come on now.
Yeah, since I wasn't able to get help to correct the record, now I have to put the IRS to task, and they're going to charge for it. I guarantee you, they don't work for free, and they're going to know they can't charge me because I'm the one giving them the information, showing them where the abuse is at, the conversions.
You should be.
They're going to agree.
We should be able to just simply go to the county clerk and the county assessor and correct the record right there. Just off of what's already established in law and in the rules and shit.
Yep, and you got
there's no federal birth registry, so it's impossible that this is a U.S. business or U.S.
Right,
person, whatever the hell language you're speaking.
Yeah, you got the county commissioner and the county registrar. At the state level, you've got the governor and the state registrar. At the municipality, you've got the same thing, and it's the mayor and the clerk, county registrar. You're just working the same thing throughout all jurisdictions, and none of them are wanting to take culpability. So it's time to get the federal issue for the private tax issue taken care of. There's funds that are sitting there, and this forensic audit's going to pull them all out. It's going to pull out all the income credits, the insurance credits, the unearned income credit, the unearned income tax, all of it. It's going to show that the banks have been taking the instruments and calling them assets when they're not. There's no capital transfer tax paid on it, so they can't just magically appear with some kind of asset that doesn't have a transfer tax stamp to it. Taxes are duly paid by stamp.
And they have to be doing that at the local level because I believe the judge exec holds all the banks deals.
Yep. And I'm getting ready to set forth one of these birth certificates through the mail in a sealed envelope to myself, and have a document in there, a certificate of trust with a green certified return receipt, and then a registered mail label on the outside. So the document with the birth certificate will be inside with my affidavit. So there's the three parts of the instrument, and the certificate of trust is going to have the green certified receipt on it, so that whenever the trustee opens it up, he's going to show receipt, and I get my receipt back, and now we can administrate or execute the probated estate to correct all the records. And it's going to be insured through the Postal Service. It's an asset that I can hand over to the United States for their part in helping me settle and control that settlement. As beneficiary gets to settle and control the estate. Trust shall not fail for want of trustee. Greetings, Adam. How you doing today?
Doing pretty good. How are you doing today?
I am well.
Very good. You said benefactor, and I remembered that Benjamin Franklin is only worth $100 and he's dead. So there's money on his head. I don't know how that fits in. Just thought it was funny.
Yeah, that's on the millage rate.
Why did you say that? And I looked down at it and it said ML before the freaking serial number. Why did it say that?
On what, your $100 bill?
Yeah. Yeah. Before the serial number, there's ML.
I don't know. I'd have to see it.
Hey, hold on. Let's see. Where's that bitch at?
Interesting. ML. I'll have to look it up real quick.
I just printed it, so it's a little fresh, but I could tell you though, they're a lot more fun to spend that way. Just kidding for all you dense fucks out there. I mean, gentlemen and ladies.
I saw something where they were, I guess, bleaching out the dollar bill and turning them into hundreds.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Well, I remember quite a few years back, there was a guy, I believe, up in Jersey, and he was doing that with fives and got by with it for a long time, got busted for millions and millions of dollars, but told wrong person.
Some papacy notes, right? Is that what they are? Blood papacy notes?
I have no idea.
It's blood money. Whenever they start wars and stuff, they usually only start them with countries that don't have international monetary funds, banking already there. And then one of the first things they do is build a building, and then they just say it's just business.
Yep. And they hand him a little black book with a number in it. Yep.
Say ML though, that's so crazy.
I don't know. It's just it's part of their tracking on the pages, and you know how many bills are printed and this and that. Ones are different. Ones are going to have one letter.
All right, I'll let you guys get back to it.
And Sir Greg, when it comes to correct means punish, I don't know where you get that. Core. What is the core of your body? The core is your heart. And rect means guide or rule. So it's my heart that rules. That's the correctness. That's where I get rightly dividing the word of truth. So yeah, it's a matter of repentance. And in that sense, I punish myself for doing wrong. And with that, we are done, guys. What do you got? Help me out here. Last way out. I got to go get something to eat. Hey, thanks, Mitch.
Liz. Yeah, man. I'll catch you later. Peace.
You doing any lives here lately, or?
No, I've just been kind of taking it easy. I've been thinking about it. Had a few things on my mind, but
yeah, I'd like to see you maybe go on a hike with your dog or something, and just share a piece of your mind rather than arguing with the public officials or something. I'd really like I'd like to hear what's coming out of your heart as you're out in nature, because I see you're a nature guy and I love it, and I think that would be a better perspective for me to see you from, to get to know each other. I'd appreciate it anyway.
Yeah, right on, man. Thank you.
Just a thought. You bet. Anytime,
right,
brother. Love you.
Love you, man.
I'll make mine quick. Thank you very much. I'll catch you guys later.
You betcha. Thanks for stopping up. I always appreciate it, brother.
Always a pleasure up here hanging out with you, brother.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
try
you
to
too,
start
brother.
chiming in more, but it's hard.
Yeah, yeah. And not that I don't like any of the information that you put out. I just noticed that sometimes you get off track and want to mention things that you found out, and that's fine. But see if we can't keep it correlated. And if you want to message me in the background, send me those messages, and I'll see if I can find something that we can review that does correlate with it. Import it as part of my research.
All right.
All right. Appreciate it, brother.
All right. Much love.
All right. Much love.
Yeah, from
What do you
watching
got,
all those videos, Keith, I noticed how insane shit really is, and I think that I think people really just got to stop driving themselves insane and just sit back and watch it and learn from the insanity,
Yeah, I urge people to do that more. I got involved in these panels and I found out how quickly I got caught up in them. So today I spend more time watching these different videos and panels and stuff and not quite interacting so much. And I think it's given me a little bit different perspective, and I think I'm able to work on myself a little bit more deeply. And that's, again, why I said now that I've got this thing rolling with the IRS, I may slack back on some of these videos and just do like one video a day or something. Or one.
Yeah, I was getting at just like studying the cops and you know,
Yeah.
the one interview earlier with that lady. You just notice how bad it is, how fucked the human psyche is, and you know, you gotta understand it. You gotta, you know, do your homework on the human psyche and not make it worse.
Yeah, and that's why I urge people, you know, to start using your logic and reason. We get caught up in our emotions and we're not able to observe other people and their psychology because we dismiss our own through emotions and use emotions as the foundation of our life. And that leaves out the important part of being able to keep your personalities in order and let them act within their bounds instead of being so far right or far left in your emotions that people think you're insane.
Yeah,
So,
you gotta learn how to fucking see the machinations. You know, the angles people have, and it's usually the rollers. Like what we were saying with the quota. Like, who's pushing that quota? Who's turning these cops and the scumbags?
right. And that's not to dismiss other things. Yeah, and that's not to dismiss other things that might be happening in their lives too. You got to remember, a lot of these people are indoctrinated. So the same thing that's happening to me by the police may happen to them by the police too. Because it's the same thing with the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing. Nobody's really recognizing the true authority. Therefore, everybody thinks they have their own authority, including Karens and Kens out in public that think they know the law, and they're going to assert that as their authority. They don't even understand the words.
The quotas we got the same mind control. You know, we're all under mind control. If you're a police, if you're a fucking, you know, a train hopper, if you work construction, whatever, man. Like, male, female. Look at the reverse racism. You get what I'm saying? It's all mind control. You just gotta be able to see it and kind of be undone from it. Last advice is if you grab a girl by the pussy, right, you want to get 2 or 3 fingers in there, at least 2. And what you do is you just pull on the pussy, all right? That's all you do.
Well, I always thought you put, you know, a couple in there and a couple in the asshole and carry them like a 6-pack. Of course, that could just be me.
Yeah, if you're grabbing them, and if you want to make a move, you know, you just gotta get the finger in there and they'll comply. You know, mind control.
And my apologies for my vulgarity, people, but you know, we talk a lot worse than that in private, right? So, you guys know me. I love you, but I don't give a rat's ass whether you love me back. That's on you. If you don't respect me, you don't respect me, don't love me, that's fine. I don't care. So may God bless you and have a good day. We'll see you next time.